everyone, it's here back in with our Marvel Rivals content, and this one being for the biggest, the ugliest, and the grossest character in Marvel. This literal spineless creature is the ratings-obsessed Mojo from Mojo World. Mojo is a pretty obscure character to most casual Marvel fans. He hasn't been in any live-action movies, though I totally would love a long-shot movie where Mojo serves as the main villain. But he was featured in X-Men 97 recently, and primarily serves as an antagonist to the X-Men. And fun fact, Mojo was intended to be a Doctor Strange villain, but the creator of Mojo was assigned to New Mutants, so he became associated with the X-Men. I just thought that was a neat note I came across in my research. Looking at Mojo, you would think he'd be a Vanguard, and the commenter who suggested Mojo said he could be a Vanguard as well. But the more I looked into him and the more I theorized, the more I found that he'd be a pretty good strategist. But I can't lie, Mojo would undoubtedly be a Vanguard. The reason is because he's way too big to warrant being anything other than a tank. It would be severely unbalanced, and if he had the health pool of a support, he would just explode so much because, again, look at him, he's just a big fat yellow blob. But I'll still incorporate a portion of the strategist identity, but for the most part, he's a straight up tank. So going into the actual goals for the hero, I want Mojo to be like no other character, and unlike any possible future heroes as well, which that in itself is a pretty daunting task. But luckily, Mojo is unlike any characters in Marvel, so I found that this is not as bad as I initially thought. Mojo's big thing is his obsession with fame and ratings, so I felt it would be the core of his kit, similar to how Mr. Fantastic has his elasticity, god that's so hard to say, especially with a speech impediment, and Wolverine with his rage build. I also want Mojo to be flashy and comedic as though he's bringing Mojo World with him into the fight. Starting off with his primary fire, he shoots piercing beams of energy from his palms. These beams cannot headshot but can pierce infinite enemies up to a minimum range. Hitting enemies with these beams increase Mojo World ratings for each enemy hit. This means if you are just cleaving through grouped up enemies, your rating is just going to build up super fast. His first ability is a scurry ability. Mojo is a coward when confronted with a physical threat, so he can activate a scurry mode allowing his spider legs to move at quicker speeds. And while scurrying, he has increased jump height and length and can climb up walls. But while scurrying, Mojo cannot attack, and this is not going to cooldown like every other sprint ability. Mojo's second ability is a stationary shield that he can cast in front of himself to create a wall of a static screen that acts as a barrier. When the screen barrier takes damage, his ratings go up. Mojo gains bonus health when summoning this barrier as well. If Mojo were to activate this ability again while the previous personal screen barrier is still up, the previous one disappears. Mojo's third ability is like the second ability, but this time it's able to be summoned and casted for an ally. The ally gains the bonus health this time, and when the barrier takes damage, Mojo's ratings go up. If Mojo were to activate this ability again, while the previous ally barrier screen is still up, the previous one disappears. For Mojo's last ability, I want to utilize his giant mechanized scorpion-like tail, which for this ability is like a giant taser that can be charged up, increasing the reach and damage of the taser. This builds ratings for each enemy hit, and the higher the charge, the higher the ratings. Now you hear me talking about ratings a lot. Almost all these abilities generate ratings, and you're probably also thinking that compared to some other concepts, Mojo seems a little shallow. Like he doesn't have a lot of sauce. That was intentional, because now is where he gets crazy. Mojo reduces his ability cooldowns based on the amount of ratings he has up to a maximum of 50% reduced ability cooldowns. And this is because the more ratings he has, the more motivated he is to create content for his viewers. This means that aggressive Mojos that are constantly building ratings will be able to use their abilities more and more, which grants them more bonus health to himself and allies, as well as creating tons of cover for his team with his screen barriers. I should also note that the ratings are always going down, but are paused for a few seconds when crossing a rating threshold of 25% up to a maximum of 100%. His team up is with both Wolverine and Psylocke, to which he is the anchor for. Here, both heroes are able to tap into Mojo's algorithm and temporarily build ratings, which in turn reduces their cooldowns as well for a few seconds. They both start at 20% ratings and build ratings by dishing out damage and using abilities. Upon activation of his ultimate, Mojo gains 50% ratings, and if he reaches max ratings, the pause of ratings is increased by an additional 7 seconds. And during the ultimate, Mojo becomes unkillable as he's fueled by fame and stardom, which also is spread to his team for a bit as allies around him gain a passive damage reduction for the duration of the ultimate. And that's how I'd make Mojo. And this is only scratching the surface of bringing you the full Mojo experience in Rivals. Mojo is a character who truly needs to have his voice lines heard and animation seen to truly be understood and adored. And with someone like MODOK, Hitmonkey, and Jeff either coming to the game or already in the game, Mojo would fit right at home in Marvel Rivals. But that's all I got for today. Let me know any other characters you want to see me create contests for in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.